You are Locked On Coogs, your daily podcast on the Houston Cougars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Parker Angel, host of Locked On Coogs here, and it is time for some more portal chatter as we're getting ready to talk about the Houston Cougar football program coming out of the weekend. Houston went into the weekend with, obviously, Connor Wegman, big-time quarterback commit in the transfer portal, committed Wednesday night. By the end of the day, Thursday, you had 2 offensive linemen commit. By Friday, you had a third. Over the weekend, you had 2 more. We have not talked about those 3 because we recorded Thursday night. So I want to talk some about the 3 that we added. Obviously, I'm still watching tape. There's a lot of football to watch to get other things. Oh, we also are in the middle of a pretty good basketball season. All kinds of stuff to go on. And I want to kind of quickly, in the end, wrap up like what I think about the adding all 5 guys. But Friday, they added Dalton Merryman, who is 6'9", 305 pounds. Yes, you heard that right. He's playing left tackle, not power forward. But at 6'9", 305, he is long. He is athletic. I should point out that at 305, and what it would project right now to be the starting lineup, he'd actually be the lightest offensive lineman in the starting 5, and he'd be the tallest. So a lot of athleticism and really long arms. I really think in my heart of hearts, he's immediately the starting left tackle. He should at least compete. They should all compete, but I think really he's the starter. He spent a year at Blinn, then an injury redshirt, and then a year at Tech. Comes in from Montgomery, nearby. I think probably wants to be closer to home. He's better in the pass game than anyone on this team a year ago. Really, the exception of like Patrick Paul, he's better than anyone that Houston's had in the pass pro in a long time. And he's exceptional in like using his length to his advantage. He understands the tools. He's got good first step and punch. Really impressed by him a lot. Obviously at 6'9", it's hard to get down into the run blocking kind of stuff and get your hips under you. But as a left tackle, protecting Connor Wegman's backside, an injury-prone quarterback, might have been more important, right, as you're scheduling things out here. So important left tackle there. At the right tackle spot, if he were to get the starting job, is Alvin Ibosele, who signed on Sunday, or just committed on Sunday via Instagram. He's a 2022 high school kid that's relatively young for this portal class. Went to Baylor, 6'6", 315 with crazy wingspan. I couldn't find a measurement that looked high and low for it. Crazy wingspan. He redshirted a year, and then his redshirt freshman year, he started 11 of the 12 games and was much stronger in the pass and the run. Good footwork, good athleticism, and he just looked young. Had a lot of penalties and got kind of beat at the point of attack and run game as a redshirt freshman. And then his redshirt sophomore year, he played in just 7 games, started in just 3, and it looks like new coordinators and new everything Baylor had going on just didn't jive, just didn't click, right? I got to say, I love the idea of bringing in a young transfer like this with such high upside and potential. Again, 6'6" with long arms and 315. Those are all going up, right? And that's good news. I could see him competing with Ndukwe to start right away next year at the right tackle spot. We'll see how that goes. Again, he's young, he's athletic, he's strong. I think he is a starting tackle for this program at some point in his career. It's just about when. And really, really impressive frame and body of work so far for a young football player. Starting the Big 12 as a redshirt freshman, and the offensive line is really, really hard to do. And I think that speaks to kind of where the guy's career could go. But the guy that might be the most impressive, and I don't know which of the 5 positions he's going to play, is McKenzie Agnello, the transfer in, just offensive lineman transfer in. I'm not going to give him a position besides that yet, from New Mexico. So he started most games at center. He also played some right tackle. I could see him being an NFL guard. For what it's worth, on like goal line, short yardage, run plays, they lined him up outside of the tackle at what I guess you'd call a tight end spot, to be kind of a point of attack down block. He's that strong. Now, he had higher Pro Football Focus grades than anyone on Houston's offensive line in every category last year except for pass, where he would have been second on the Houston offensive line last year. based on pro football pass protection and drop back pass game, I should say. Where he would have been second on Pro Football Focus's scores for Houston. Now, that means to say that he's always doing the right thing. He lined up at center for most of his games. Again, I think he's a pro guard, 6'4", 315, probably another 10 pounds on him to get to the pros, but I really think he is. Second team all conference last year at New Mexico, and again, really, really just strong, fundamental, athletic, incredibly. I mean, like, you forget there are athletes like that find their way to Mountain West schools, right? Like, impressive athlete Agnello is. Really excited about what he brings to the team. And I don't know if he'll compete with Pancake for the center spot and one of them plays guard after, if he'll just be a straight up guard, if they'll, try him out at tackle, because his second position he started 2 games last year at tackle and right tackle. I don't know which of those spots he'll do. But I think he's going to play somewhere. I just hadn't figured out where yet. Watched, a game and a half on him. So I'm not like whatever, but, I should say watched a game and a half, and then he had like a 3-minute highlight tape posted somewhere. I want to say that was on YouTube. Might have been on X. Anyway, impressive stuff out of McKenzie Agnello. And when you look across the board, last week, Matthew Wyckoff and Jason Brooks Jr. were both like power run guys. They're both guards, both downhill, aggressive, run blocking kind of guys. And while I think Wyckoff's pretty solid product, you're still working on developing, Jason Brooks, right? I talked to the guys at Oklahoma State, locked on Oklahoma State about Brooks, and he feels like Jason Brooks kind of a raw deal up there. Like, part of the reason they were better in 2023 than 2024, according to them, was because Jason Brooks played in 2023 and would have been their best offensive lineman in 2024, but got kind of crossways of the staff over some crap, and he's a Houston Cougar now. He left, right? Modern college football. Now, I have to say that, fresh start can be good for anybody, and so that's a good thing for us. I'm not saying that negatively. I'm saying, like, let's welcome, get him with open arms. He can play ball. And they have different skill sets. Last week's guys were run guys. This week's guys seem to be athletic, rangy, pass pro guys. You're returning Pancake, Hunter, and Ndukwe, and have like 7 starting caliber Big 12 guys. I mean, I'm talking guys that played at Cal, Oklahoma State, Tech, and Baylor, and then an all-conference performer at New Mexico. These are guys, and then Ndukwe and Pancake started for us last year and had good years individually. If you look at their pro football stuff and trying to break down individual tape, that's 7 different starting caliber offensive linemen, right? That's really, really strong. And for what it's worth, I don't know who the full 5 starting offensive linemen will be. I've got my guesses. I want to watch more stuff before I put it out there, whatever. But as they've got up to 7 of these guys now, I think that means spring's all about competition. Best man wins, compete. And you just kind of see where it goes. And that's such a great spot to be in relative to how things have been, right? Bluntly, a lot of your players on the offensive line last year were just dudes that backed up the year before. And while Pancake Hunter is one of your highest ranked recruits to ever come through, and it was going to be his turn eventually, and frankly, he did start a game or two the year before, right? Across the board, that didn't work out for Houston in the totality of the 5 spots. And so you've got kind of the spring football practices to, first of all, got to sign these guys officially and get them on campus. I guess we don't want to take that for granted, right? But then put them through the spring, work them out, find the best 5-man lineup wherever they go, and then also start to gel. You got to start to do all that in the spring. And so we're going to get to talking about that more as we watch more tape on these guys and break more stuff down over the course of the next couple of weeks and months until we get to spring practice, honestly. But the offensive line were not the only guys Houston brought in the portal. I want to make sure that we talk about the other guys as well. But before we get to all of that, we got a new partner to talk to you about. I'll make sure that I tell you about our buddies over at the College Football Playoff on TNT. It is that time of year. The College Football Playoff is back with a newly anticipated 12-team format. It's guaranteed to be bigger and better than ever, bring you all the hard-hitting and high-flying excitement that you love. TNT Sports coverage of the College Football Playoff begins on December 21st, starting with the College Football Playoff kickoff show presented by AT&T at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 o'clock Houston time, leading into our first matchup, the Southern Methodist University Mustangs battling the Penn State Nittany Lions at noon. Now, I'm tearing on what I want to see happen there, but I digress. The Clemson Tigers look to upset the Texas Longhorns in a showdown then at 4 p.m. Eastern. Don't miss a moment of the action. Watch the College Football Playoff presented by Allstate live on TNT, True TV, TBS, and Max.